guys, Renata Sandor here from MeetAdvisors.com, and I'm joined with Sandee Kastrul, co-founder and president of IC Stars. How are you today?
Great, how are you?
Good, good. Thank you so much for coming in. So I want to start off with asking you, who are you, and then what is IC Stars?
Sure, so I am the president and co-founder of IC Stars, and I'm a former school teacher. I like to think of myself as a one-room school teacher with the red little schoolhouse, you know?
Okay. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Except I believe that, you know, that one-room schoolhouse is important because it was the center of town. It's where business connected with the next generation of talent. It's where students of all ages came to learn something, to do something. It's where church was held on Sundays, but it was that center of the community. And I've always really believed in the power of education as that center. So IC Stars, we're a technology, leadership, and business training program for inner city adults and a social enterprise. So in a nutshell, we find talent, train talent, and put talent to work with a vision of 1,000 community leaders by 2020.
Wow.
So the idea is we use technology and systems thinking and process and methodology to teach community leadership. So, you know, from gathering requirements to really figuring out what are the pain points of our users, our customers, our community, and then building solutions.
So what kind of industries do you guys typically focus on, or kind of, can you give more information on that?
Sure. So we have a 4-month internship that's very intensive, project-based learning, and we work with companies like Kraft, UL, TTX. So it's not industry specific, but it's always IT. So over the course of 4 months, our folks will build, these days it's almost always mobile apps. And then working with that company and building the apps, it's sort of like The Apprentice, right? So it's a 4-month interview.
Yeah.
And so often our companies will hire. And then we work with mentor sponsors like a ThoughtWorks or a Solstice that mentor the teams going through the process. And they really get to know their work, and they turn out to be our largest employers too.
So do you connect the students with these companies and then kind of facilitate that gathering, and then they go on and do that internship, or do they do that internship within IC Stars?
Yes.
Or how does that work?
Great question. So the internship is at IC Stars, and it's 1,000 hours over 4 months.
Okay.
And so we'll look at 400 candidates to pick 20.
Wow.
To be in the IC Stars internship, right? It's harder than getting into some of the best universities.
Yeah.
We've been dubbed the Inner City MBA program. It's pretty cool. But then those 20 folks will start, and they have a week or two of team building, cross-cultural communication, leadership workshops. And then that Friday, they're divided up into 4 teams. They form their own consulting companies, and they're literally competing with each other for the bid. So their whole first sprint is about winning over the client and, you know, having a winning proposal. Then after that sprint, the client will choose the team that they like the best. So one of my favorite stories was Kraft approached us about the problem that we were trying to solve was childhood obesity. And so, you know, we think of Kraft for all of the good cheesy things and snacks and stuff. And so the winning team came up with this idea called Lunch Lady Madness. And it was literally, this lunch lady is chasing you, and she's got a hairnet and stockings, and there's all this food. So if you choose the right food, you can run faster and you've got energy and fuel. But if you pick like the wrong food, it would slow you down, and she would catch you in the, like, frying pan, right? And it was such a fun idea, right? So they won, and then the second sprint is all around design thinking and really understanding the users and the customers, and marketing, and so now all the teams work with that idea. So we exploited competition, and now it's about collaboration.
Okay.
So you can see some of the leadership objectives being baked in here. So it's not just the technology or professionalism. It's really like a very holistic approach to learning how to do software development, but also how to understand business and culture. And then, of course, the third sprint is just heads down programming, building the app.
Yeah. Great.
But to answer your question, long story, then after the 4-month internship, we've got a whole host of employers that hire from IC Stars. And then, you know, certainly in our social enterprise, while we do staff log and retain services, some of our alums will end up working at IC Star. So after the formal internship, you're a resident for 2 years, and we work with you in getting your associate's degree or your bachelor's degree, career counseling, college counseling, all those kinds of things. But the internship happens at IC Stars.
So what is the typical age group of the people that are interning? So are they more maybe freshmen, sophomores, juniors, seniors?
Excuse me. 18 to 27 is our target age.
Okay.
But the interesting thing for us is that we don't have any government funding, so we're funded by the business community.
Okay.
And so we don't have to have an age limit. So we can, work with folks in their 50s, 60s, which is really nice.
Yeah.
But typically it's 20-something-year-olds.
Okay. So what kind of made you make that jump from becoming a teacher to owning your own business? Yeah,
it's interesting because I think, I get asked this question all the time, and really for me it was seeing so much potential in our communities that didn't really have a pathway to deploy their assets.
Yeah.
And so, we talk in education a lot about asset-based education, where you're looking at what's good instead of what's wrong. And what I found in my 15 years of teaching was that, the more adversity kids had overcome in their life, the more resilient they were. And as a result, they developed this resiliency toolkit that had reciprocity and critical thinking skills and creativity and chutzpah, you name it, right? And that these were the things that nobody was really seeing. And as the world became more flat and our companies were competing globally and not just locally, there was a real need for people who could walk between worlds, sort of the old way or old school of doing things was changing dramatically, and this was the 90s, And so I saw a tremendous opportunity to create this bridge between our inner city communities and really resilient and talented young folks and technology. And remember, technology is awesome because it's a meritocracy, right? It doesn't matter what you look like.
Yeah.
If you could just make it work, right? But at the end of the day, really what technology is about either solving problems or building solutions. And what our communities need more than anything is people who are solving problems and building solutions. So I saw a beautiful sort of poetic bridge, not only to opportunities, but to really developing change agents who could use technology to make change in business, but agents of change who could use technology and systems thinking to change our communities.
And what are some of the challenges you've seen growing your business?
Change, right? So we're in IT and we launched our first training in 2000. The world looked completely different.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, our graduates, we've always had 100% placement for our graduates. And in 2000, they all went to .coms and they were riding around on scooters and playing with Xboxes and being HTML programmers, right? And then the bubble burst, 9/11 happened, and there was a huge shift in this industry. And so, and then even think from front end programming and design to we had to pivot to more back end and data. And so it's been a wild ride in terms of, as an organization, keeping up with the change. But there's something really lovely about, as an organization and as leaders, we are having to pivot and adapt to change. But we're asking our students or our interns to do exactly the same thing. So we have sort of a no walls policy. We're very transparent about what's going on for us as an organization, and then what's going on as an industry, and then what we expect from our interns. So there's this really nice, how do we manage change? Because we're going through it right now, right? And I think that's really powerful.
Yeah. And so kind of wrapping up our segment, what is that one piece of advice that you would give to our community of entrepreneurs and media advisors?
Yeah, my one piece of advice is to really embrace change. Is to, I think we tend to freak out because we all want to be comfortable. But being an entrepreneur means finding comfort in the uncomfortable and learning how to make those opportunities in the spaces that are uncomfortable And that's what makes successful entrepreneurs, is the ability to make other people comfortable in times of uncertainty. And so embrace it, even though it's hard and scary and keeps you up at night. It will be the salvation of our companies, our communities, and our businesses.
And where can people find you? What's your website?
Sure. ICStars.org, and it's all letters. IC Stars stands for Inner City Computer Stars. And yeah, come find us, work with us, volunteer, plug in, send applicants, and yeah.
Great. Well, guys, check out icstars.org and check out meetadvisors.com for more videos and blogs. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.